if you've been cooking domestic meat your whole life, you are used to, well, really flaccid muscles, which totally gross me out when I see like store-bought chicken. It's like it's like
Yeah.
gross. It didn't do anything for a living.
Welcome to the Wild Dispatch.
Hello and welcome to the Wild Dispatch. I'm Robin and I'm back with more skills and stories from the wild. We have another wild guest for you today. Holly Heyser is a fantastic writer. She is, like myself, what's the term we use? Adult-onset hunter. She has that fantastic perspective of someone who didn't jump into hunting from the very beginning, didn't have those family role models, didn't have those mentors early on that taught all the things about gear and techniques that make life in the outdoors when you're trying to find nutrients that much easier. But what she has done is taken her journey of learning and given it to all of us. She has taken many of the things that she's learned and created wonderful nuggets of information, whether it's through her articles or through videos that teach people the many things that we may not have learned. So thank you for that, Holly. I also want to give a quick note to everyone. Hunting season in California has landed, and that means that lots of time has been spent out in the boonies, which is fantastic for that feeling inside when you're out in nature, but it's not that good for making podcasts. So this is a little warning. The flow of episodes might not be quite as constant as it usually is. I'll do my best to get episodes out as quickly as possible. I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself because the freezer has an echo right now and it needs to be filled. It has been filled a bit, I've got to say. So the last week has been amazing fun. I've been out on several different trips, a couple of ocean-bound excursions. The last day of salmon fishing was a great success. The salmon was with Dennis. We've got some whoppers on the boat, so that's great news. Isla took me out. We got a bunch of crabs and managed to get some nice lingcod on the boat too. And then also going off hunting with Tiffany Friedman, Dan, who's also been on the podcast. We managed to get a hog on the ground too. So thank you to all those people. But also, right now, a huge thank you to Holly. Here's our episode now. Holly, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me here.
A little bit of technical issues there, but we got it figured out. On my end, I should add, you were absolutely perfect.
Excellent. I try.
So, Holly, we're going to chat about a bunch of stuff, but I guess first of all, we should probably set up like, whereabouts are you based, and give me a little outline about what you're all about.
Okay, I'm based, for people globally, near Sacramento, California. I'm in a tiny suburb. No one knows the name of it, so not even worth shouting out there. So Sacramento, California. I've lived here for, oh my gosh, what year is it? I've been here 22 years now, and I used to live here when I was in college. Went to Sacramento State, okay. And I am what they call an adult-onset hunter, so I didn't start hunting until I was 41. I'm 60, so this is going to be my 20th anniversary of starting hunting. And I got really into it. Just fell into it really hard. It's like, this is the most amazing thing that's ever happened to my life. And started writing about it, had a blog for a while about it, do a lot of how-to videos. And then, like many adult hunters I know, I really started to love mentoring new adult hunters because, you know, when you grow up in a hunting family, you absorb all this information all the time. There is a lesson happening at all times, and you're exposed to everything. And more importantly, you have people who buy gear for you or borrow gear for you. And when you're an adult, you have no clue. If you have no hunting people, you have no idea what to do. So I have a lot of empathy for people like that. So got into mentoring. I've worked in the hunting industry a little bit. I worked for California Waterfowl, which is a fantastic hunting and conservation organization in California. They do a lot of conservation work, so habitat work, and they do advocacy and at the Capitol, which is desperately needed in California, as you may know.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids programs and hunt programs. They own all these properties that you can hunt on, so they actually increase hunting opportunity in the state. If you're into duck hunting, and they do other stuff too, a little bit of pig hunting and turkey and so on. So I worked for them for quite a while, was their magazine editor. And before I became a hunter, I was a newspaper reporter and editor. And that's sort of where my career started. And now it's been all over the place.
So I'm curious, you said that you were in newspapers and you were an editor before. What was your perspective before you got into hunting? I'm always curious because I actually also I should say I'm an adult-onset hunter as well. So I've gone through that kind of experience too. But I'm always curious to hear I'm assuming in a little bit more of an urban environment at that point, if you were working in that thing, or maybe that's just a wrong assumption. But
oh no, there's no great journalism jobs in rural environments. They're all in cities.
That's what I was thinking. So what was did you even have an opinion?
I kind of did. So my background, interestingly, my dad's family hunted, but my dad stopped hunting before I was born, and I didn't start hunting until after he died. So we completely missed each other on it, which actually breaks my heart because it would have been really fun to hunt with my dad. We didn't get to do a lot of stuff together, and I would have just cherished having memories like that. But when he gave up hunting, what he took up was raising animals. So we raised animals for food from the time I was 7 years old. So we raised chickens and rabbits and pigs. We lived in a very nice Southern California community called Thousand Oaks. It's in Ventura County. It's very, very nice.
I know that
area. We were in a neighborhood zoned for horses. So we had a nice half-acre lot, and some people had horses and we had pigs. And when it came time to dispatch them, Dad did it with a .38 revolver. In city limits. I was a kid, so I just didn't question anything. But so we would, and once the neighbors were onto it, when they knew pig slaughter day was coming, all the kids would line up in the neighbor's yard, and they would all be peeking over the fence like Kilroy to watch the action. So that's the kind of family I was raised in. So I was around killing animals, and I understood killing for food. The first thing that they killed for us to eat was a rooster, and his name was Henry VIII. And we chopped his head off. And my dad decided to off him because he had attacked me. I went into the chicken coop when I was wearing shorts and a halter top, and he just raked his claws down my back, and Dad's like, that's it, we're eating him. Wow. So Dad chops his head off, and all the classic things happen. He runs around without his head. And I cried because, most people I think cry when they see their first. And when I go out with new hunters and they're afraid they're going to cry, it's like, go ahead and cry. It's fine.
It's fine.
You should cry. You've just taken a life. It's okay to cry. It's all right. Anyway, so I was crying and upset about it. And then Mom made chicken pot pies for dinner. And I was like, got it. All good.
Okay, you're on board.
I'm on board. So
there's not such a sad memory anymore when you got it.
Henry VIII was delicious. And I have no permanent scars on my back. So it's all good. So I always assumed I would grow up and raise my own food. And I had a very urban life because of, my profession. And I started just having this nagging feeling about it really would be better if I was raising my own food. And it was funny. I was living in the Twin Cities, and we had an exchange program journalist from Vietnam who was working at our newspaper, and I invited him over to lunch and made some tacos for him. It was chicken tacos, no big deal. And he says, this is really good, but the meat here in America doesn't taste like anything. And I'm like, you're right. Yeah. And that was the first thing. It's like, Holly, you forgot yourself. You forgot where you came from. And that's not what got me into hunting at all. But that whole time when I wasn't hunting, because of my background raising animals for food, I kind of had this feeling that hunters were a little bit weird because they enjoyed killing. And in my context, the killing was a somber day. It was never fun. No one took joy in it. We didn't take pictures and high-five each other or anything. So I had this very uneasy feeling about it, and I couldn't understand why people enjoyed it so much. And then when I was living in the Twin Cities, my boyfriend at the time, he decided to take up hunting. And he kept inviting me to join him. And here's how the hunting conversation went. We were on a road trip, and he said, I'm thinking about getting a gun. And I'm like, why? And he said, well, I think I want to start hunting. And I said, are you going to eat what you kill? And he said, yeah. I said, okay, that's fine. So that was like an acceptable use to me. And he really got into it. And he kept inviting me to hunt. And once, like, if my boyfriend isn't a crazy sicko for enjoying doing it, then there's got to be something wrong with my assumptions. So finally, he hunted rabbits and pheasants when we were in the Twin Cities, and then we came out to Sacramento, and he looked up what's good to hunt near Sacramento, and we have epic duck hunting in this area. It's really, really good. Some of the best duck hunting in the country, and really good public land hunting too. So he taught himself to hunt, and mostly he shot really foul-tasting birds like coots, and he'd bring them home and cook them or be like, yeah, that wasn't very good. And finally, he started killing some ducks. He taught himself to hunt. My hat's off to him completely for that. It's very hard to teach yourself to duck hunt. It's one of the most complicated things you can do. And he finally started bringing home ducks. And one night, he roasted some ducks in the oven. They were probably teal, which is one of the most delicious ducks there is. And we were sitting at the table, and they were just whole birds. And we just picked them up like big apples and just like nom nom nom, and grease was dripping down our chins, and the cat was circling the table, meow meow meow, I want some. And I just looked at him. I probably had grease dripping down my chin when I said it, and it's like, I am ready to start hunting. I want more of this. I want to eat twice as much as we're eating of this. And I thought at that time it might be like, maybe we'll go from 12 ducks a year to 24 ducks a year. And then I became like a stone cold duck killer, and I was getting, a lot more than that. But when I told him I decided to hunt, he said, well, let's take you on a hunt to make sure you're okay with it. So we went on a pig hunt down on the Central Coast near Paso Robles.
Okay.
Robles. I always try and pronounce it Spanish. I know it's Robles. I gotta I just gotta accept that. Anyway, so we went on this pig hunt, and immediately, we didn't see any pigs the first day, but immediately I was struck by how different the land is when you were hunting. And I'd grown up in the country. Well, I grew up in the city. We moved to the country when I was 9 years old, so I had a lot of country life as well. And so I was no stranger to being in wild places, but suddenly when you're hunting, everything is different. You're looking at it in a different way. And the next day we went out in the morning, and we're driving down this road, and I was the one who spotted pigs. And so he ended up getting one of those pigs. And then I helped him clean it because I was also no stranger to that. Yeah. And the whole experience was just absolutely electrifying. And the success, the success of the kill is important, and it does make you want to celebrate because it is not easy and a lot of work goes into it. But the complete package of everything we were doing, the way the land appeared so different to me, it just hooked me immediately. And then the more I hunted, the more I got into it. And I went down the rabbit hole. I took the red pill, all the things, just absolutely fell in love with it. And I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that journey today, but yeah, my life, everything I want is outside, and everything in civilization drives me crazy. Every time I drive on a crowded freeway, I just can't wait to be away from it. So completely changed my life. That was a really long-winded answer.
No,
I hope you got something out of that.
No, it's great. It's great. If you're comfortable answering, what drove you? Said that you used to be a reporter and an editor, but what drove you out of that in the end? Like, do you still dabble? Because I kind of have a similar feeling about some of what I might consider was my profession, I don't know.
Yeah.
But was it just the wilderness that pulled you in fully?
No. So I actually left the newspaper business a couple months before I started hunting, and I became a professor at Sacramento State. Okay. I guess you would call me adjunct. I was never like on the full academic track. I only have a bachelor's degree, so I'm an academic plebe.
Okay, me too.
But I went back and I became the advisor to the student newspaper at Sac State. And that was the student newspaper that I had worked on when I was a student there. Cool. And when I left and went out into the real world, I literally thought this to myself. I literally thought it would be really cool to go advise that newspaper one day, because I would love to tell them what I wish I'd known when I was there, because the real world is so different from what you experience in college. And I had a lot of practical experience. So I was ready to leave the newspaper business. I left just before it really started collapsing, when we really started losing a lot of readers because of free online content. And I took this job, and it was fun. A lot of people said, "Aren't you going to miss the newsroom?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding? I'm in a newsroom. The only difference is it's filled with crazy hormonal 20-somethings who were actually a lot of fun, but also a little bit over the top. I mean, actually a lot over the top, but they were so much fun. And it was the same experience. They were the same people I'd worked with my entire life.
Yeah.
So I still felt like I was in a newsroom. I was just in a newsroom full of neophytes, and I was the expert in the room. And they were also my experts too. I decided to use that time of my life to branch out. So I had been only a writer at that point, but I was always interested in photography. So I took up photography, and my photo students are the ones who taught me a lot of stuff about cameras and photo editing. And then I finally started learning enough that I could teach them. So they really, being around people that age is so fun, because once you reach a certain age, it's really easy to start calcifying in your brain a little bit.
Absolutely.
And young people are really good at scraping away the calcification in your brain.
Definitely. I think that there's like I can already see it in you from this story, is that having an openness and willingness to take in new information, I think, is a really valuable trait to have, right? Because I think it's pretty dangerous. As soon as you start feeling, oh, I'm a bit of an expert about this, something can happen in your brain, like you say, the calcification. It's very easy to not be as absorbent to new information. And I guess the reality is everything is always changing. I think we as humans quite often crave stability or crave consistency, but it just doesn't exist, really, does it? It's only brief moments.
Yeah, not in this world. Not in this world. Things just move so incredibly fast. And you reach a certain age and you get a little bit tired of that. I'm a little bit annoyed with AI right now. A lot annoyed with AI. Like, why are you coming for my job? I like what I do. I like writing. I don't want you to take writing away from me. I don't want you to take photography away from me or photo editing. Please stop. I'm glad I'm my age. I'm glad I'm not in the workforce right now. Woo.
Yeah, no, I definitely.
I mean, I am in the workforce, but I'm
glad
I'm not young in the workforce right now. I am still working, actually. I'm not rich.
Yeah, I can definitely. This wouldn't be the first time that AI has popped up as a conversation on this podcast. It feels like kind of in a weird way. Obviously, the risk to all of our jobs, I guess, in the long run. But it's kind of like I don't know if I'm going to use the right word here, and you can pick me up on this, but like an antithesis to going out in the wild and doing things in a completely analog and normal and in kind of old way. I don't know, the fast solutions, easy answers of AI that it provides is kind of, in a way, for me, giving everything too easily. It's the difficulty of going out in nature, experiencing everything in a way it slows you down and makes you earn things the hard way that gives it more value, in a way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's the visceral feeling of it, and I agree. I think I'm gonna go on a tangent here, so we're gonna have to bring me back to this. But before I started hunting, I was worried that hunting was going to make me cruel and callous about the suffering of animals. And in fact, when I started hunting, I began to understand that all of the animals I saw were our kin, and our kin deserves respect. And I looked at them in their own environment where you could actually see their worth, their sentience, their intelligence. And, we're the species that can't feed itself in the wild. Like, who's the stupid one here?
Yeah.
So learning to value everything that's out there, learning to value the slow way of doing things, which is a way that sustained us actually in remarkably good health for a couple 100,000 years. Doing things the slow way feels more natural, and it feels right. To do things the way we've always done them. And one of the rabbit holes I went down, I'm actually getting back to where we started here. One of the rabbit holes I went down was trying to understand the path of humanity. And I was really obsessed for a while with, why did we leave Eden? We were in a place where our food was out there for the taking, and we didn't have to store it, and we didn't have to get up at 6 a.m. to feed it, or, to protect it from predators at the end of the day. We had this wonderful system. Why did we leave it? What was our problem? And what I learned was there was not a particular moment we left Eden, as magical as the whole biblical story is. There was not a particular moment, but it was this very linear process with humans where we're ridiculously smart, somehow remarkably stupid while being ridiculously smart, but we can do a lot of really cool stuff like this. This is cool.
Yeah, exactly.
But we are so seduced by convenience, and pretty much every single convenience we can come up with is really, really bad for us. All of it. Fast food kills you. Going to the supermarket instead of going out hunting to get your food is like, you just burned fossil fuels or even electricity if you got a Tesla, whatever. And you didn't get any exercise. You just walked up and down the aisles. That didn't take anything. And just everything we do, all these conveniences, yeah, it's nice. It's irresistible. The fun is irresistible, but it's not good for us. Every single bit of it's killing us. All the plastic all around us, that's not good for us. All the pollution in the air, that's not good for us. I'm really cranky about all of our brilliant advances. I hate all of our brilliant advances. I mean, I'm using it right now, and God, I really do love my memory foam bed a lot, I gotta say. Tired old bones. Yeah, but the rest of it, I'm just like, I just feel like we made a bad deal, and we can't help ourselves. And I really wanted to hate on humans for that, but the more I researched it, the more I realized any species, given what we have, so the large brain to body ratio and these things, any species would do the same thing. No one can resist convenience. That's why when you feed wildlife, they become pests. It's like, this is convenient. We're going to sit here and get fat. So
yeah, it's the path of least resistance. It's even if you're trying to channel, I don't know why this is popping into my mind, but someone who I interviewed before was saying there's kind of culturally, I think in Russia where he spent time, you would make fences from trees. You'd half cut them down and fold them down in order to create funnel ways for moose to come through, because it's the path of least resistance. Why are they going to go the hard way when they can go the easier way? It's like, it's just our natural in everything, right? You're going to go the way that is easier, less effort, and probably is safer, I guess, is the other option as well, right? So it is, I guess we can't blame ourselves. You're right. I guess we can't.
I wanted to for a long time. I really wanted to hate on us, and I've just settled for hating on civilization. It's funny.
Yeah.
In my job, I'm an information officer for the state, and in my job, we have staff meetings, and they always start with an icebreaker question. And approximately 50% of the time, my answer will be something cranky about how I wish I could just be in nature and how I hated all modern advances. And they'd always say things like, well, Holly, grinding acorns takes a lot of time. And it's like, and you'd have the time if you weren't sitting in front of your computer for 40 hours a week. So
sounds like a fun Monday morning.
Oh my gosh, I'm so cranky. I'll try not to be cranky here.
No, it's good. You're making me think of an article that I read that you wrote. I think you call it "Humans Gone Wild," and there's elements of that in that what you wrote there. And I think, in a way, what I thought was interesting that you pulled out was that convenience, right? It is like then gone to an extreme of, I guess, like pushing society away from nature and into this weird culture of being completely disconnected from wild places, from our food, from all that stuff. But then also like the intense work culture that we can get into, right?
Hate that.
Right? Me too.
Yeah, like why do we value working ourselves to death? Like, why do we think that's a good thing? And we don't. We've been conned into thinking that's a good thing because it's good for the people at the top who make money.
Yeah.
That's what's going on there.
It must be tapping into something, though, I wonder. Maybe it's because of the drive to survive from before, when it was like you would have to be working all the time in order to be securing calories and shelter and where your water's coming from, all those things. Maybe it's tapping into something there. That
and competition.
Okay.
And me personally, I love excellence. I like doing really cool stuff. Behind the screen that's in front of me now, I've got a spreadsheet I'm working on. It's going to be a big infographic about data about duck hunting in the last season. And I love doing this thing, and I want it to be the best thing it can possibly be. And I love that kind of excellence, and I will work really hard to do it. But I actually, I stopped my overwork habit in 2019 when I completely pushed myself over the edge. It's like, the edge is coming, kept warning people, it's coming, it's coming. Okay, I'm going over the edge now. Okay, all right, bye.
Yeah.
And I finally decided to start taking care of myself and stop doing too much work. And I had just piled so many things on myself in the name of success. I had my day job. I had my freelance gigs on the side. I hunted a lot, and I just dialed everything back. You don't have to do everything. And it's the FOMO culture.
Yeah.
You got to do everything.
Yeah.
You got to be great. And legitimately, there are professions where if you want to succeed, you've got to hustle. And I'm 60 now, so I'm approaching retirement. I have proven myself. I know what I'm worth. I know what I can do. I don't feel like I have to be proving myself constantly. But I think for most of our adult lives, we feel this need to prove ourselves so that we can get ahead or stay ahead and survive and make enough money to live and have our dreams so that we can ultimately scrap all that crap and just go inside, enjoy ourselves out in nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's our natural drive, and people capitalize on it to our detriment.
Yeah, it's true. I completely agree with you. It's sort of how, the thing I guess that is curious is why we don't make those sacrifices earlier, because ultimately if all we're trying to do is get to being outside or having time to do whatever we want to do, which we probably don't even have time to work out what that is yet, why aren't we just dialing back and doing it early? Maybe AI is going to help us with that because we won't have jobs anyway.
Well, I hope AI is paying my bills too, but somehow I don't think there's going to be any money left over from AI for me. I don't think they're going to be sending me a check. Probably not.
No, I mean, that's probably true. No,
yeah. But the whole thing of people waiting till retirement to go enjoy themselves and go places. And my life when I retire, and I hope to retire in about a little over 4 years, my life when I retire is going to be like my life right now, which is going to be hunting, foraging, hiking, training my dog, and then not having to work 40 hours a week on top of it. I'm not going to like suddenly come to the screeching stop and be like, oh my God, what do I do with my life? I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to enjoy it more, and I'm going to sleep in and be better rested and probably happier.
Yeah, I think.
Don't mean to rub it into all you young folks out there, but I'm almost there.
Well, in a way, I think So my wife and I have tried to do some aspect of that in some way for the last, 10 years or so, where we realized we spent some time with friends who are far more flexible with their schedule. They work for themselves and they're able to work for long periods and then get stuff done. But then they can just go and take time and go and do things that they want to do. If they're passionate about something, if they want to go on a break, or if they want to go on an adventure, they're able to do that. I mean, obviously there's pros and cons, but since moving to the US and then we actually got our citizenship a few years ago. That gives us...
Congratulations.
Thanks. That gives us the flexibility to, not have to answer so much to people. I mean, obviously we still got to pay the bills, which can sometimes be a little bit stressful.
Right.
But that freedom then means that you can go and really pursue something that interests you, does that make sense?
Yeah. Like live your life now to the extent that you can. I think the other thing driving the high performance work ethos is if someone else is doing it and you're not, then you look really bad. Yeah. I'm 60, so I've reached that age of like, I don't care how I look, and I actually work really hard. So when I'm on, I'm on. But but if you're putting out an average performance and everyone else around you is working 60-hour weeks, then it makes you look bad. So we're kind of compelled to go along with what everyone around us is doing. This happens in hunting. So I'm a duck hunter. One of the things duck hunters use is spinning wing decoys. And spinning wing decoys are a pain. They have parts that you have to keep dry, and they have batteries, and mostly birds get onto them really fast. And so the birds will be like, oh, that's a hunter there. They work for about a week. And then you have to have one because if someone near you has one and you don't have one, then all the ducks are going to go to them. And the funny thing is the ducks are going to flare off of them too because they're going to say, oh, that's a hunter down there. But if you don't have one at all, they're not even going to come close enough to flare off of you. So it's this mutually assured destruction thing where we all have to have the same level of gadgetry and stuff if you want to be successful. And it's not that I have to beat the guy next to me. It's not that I need to get more ducks than the guy next to me, but I put in a lot of effort when I go duck hunting and I get up ridiculously early. I would like to bring home some ducks, please.
Yeah.
So, the
Absolutely.
whole compulsion to keep up with people it's
there.
real. It's real. It's not just an illusion. It's not a figment of our imagination that we need to do that. There's real consequences when you don't keep up with everyone around you.
So when you say flare off, what does that mean?
That means they're coming in and they're like, no.
Okay, they just make a turn and they're like, no thanks, I'm going to go somewhere else.
That looks like people with the bang bang sticks.
Okay, and you think they are trained? They have like an instinct for these things? Or is it just like I mean, how would you know? You're not having a conversation with them as they're flying through the air. But do you think this is something they learn from bad experiences? Or do you think it's just like a primal thing?
No, I don't think it's primal at all because the way a spinning wing decoy works is the wings spin around, it's black on one side, white on the other, and when it spins, it's a flash. And if you've ever watched ducks coming in for a landing, when they're just a foot off the water and they're flapping, you will see that flash. And so what it looks like is activity. And ducks are highly social animals, so they are drawn to activity. A mojo is very good. A spinning wing decoy is very good for attracting them. Also, getting up to rearrange your decoys, having a snack, lighting a cigarette, or taking a leak, equally good because they just want to see activity down there.
Interesting.
Ducks are super fascinating. So it's just to attract their attention and make them think it's a party. Ducks are just like, hey, it's a party down here. Let's go. And that's just how they like to roll. But the problem is once they get close enough to see that it's a spinning wing decoy and not a party, then they say, oh, I've seen that before.
That's trouble.
So they absolutely learn to associate it with being shot at. And, their buddy Herbie getting knocked down and well, I guess belly
you're
up
gonna,
in the water.
Yeah, you're going to remember that quickly if you see your friends die around you. That's definitely that's trauma. Has a powerful effect, I think, on any of us.
Exactly.
So why? I mean, you explained from a geographical point of view the answer to this question, but I guess in a bigger sense, why waterfowl hunting over anything else? Because there's a lot of other kinds of hunting, and there are other types of hunting that you can do in your area.
Oh, yeah. And actually, now that I have a dog, I do them. And I got a dog last year specifically because a couple seasons ago, we had a really terrible season. It got too warm, so the ducks didn't have to come down from the north. And so the duck hunting was really poor. However, the upland bird populations, quail and grouse and pheasant to the extent we have any left here, they were doing really well. And if I'd had a dog, I could have gone upland hunting. So I actually love all bird hunting.
Okay.
I am absolutely captivated by birds. And there's stuff that's very attractive like upland hunting. Like you get a much later start in the day. You don't have to get up at 1:30 a.m. to go to a refuge. Refuges are just, the duck hunting it's crazy hard. But there's a couple things. First of all, ducks are delicious. Like there's three things in the wild that are just wild little pigs, just loaded with fat. And that's pigs and salmon and ducks. And these are the little fat beasts. And they're not fat everywhere. They're fat here because we create an incredible amount of food from them. Our wetland habitat is absolutely superb here. And we have tons and tons of rice fields. So there's a lot of good crops for them to eat as well. So there's stupid fat here. I mean, when I was hunting ridiculously, like 3 days a week, which is exhausting when you have a day job. When I was hunting 3 days a week, we were easily rendering out over a gallon of duck fat a year for use around the home. And duck fat is delicious. Like, people think you do all this high-end stuff with it. You can make confit and do this and that, or you can just like cook your tater tots in it, and that's really good as well.
Yeah.
So the duck fat is delicious. Ducks taste good. They taste amazing. They're really fantastic when you cook them properly, and a lot of people don't, so they think they taste terrible, but they're just not cooking it right. And the other thing is the way they come in. So for upland hunting, the beautiful thing about upland hunting is you get a lot of walking in, and you get to work behind a dog, and the dog slams into a point on a bird, and it's super exciting, and there's mayhem. But ducks come to you. You sit and hide, and you put staggering amounts of money into gear to put out decoys and have the spinning wing decoys and everything you need, motion decoys and battery motion decoys and string operated ones. And you go through this elaborate routine just for that moment where you see ducks coming in and it's like, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? Oh my God, they're going to do it. Oh my God, they're coming in. And you just about lose your mind with excitement because they're about to be right there. And the way they come in, their wings are cupped and they're like bombing in. And it's just exciting. It's crazy, crazy exciting when they come in. And when you get a good shot on them, they fly really fast. I'm about to have a cat walk across the screen here. I apologize.
Oh, no worries.
This is Xochi. Hi, baby.
Hi, Xochi.
You go away now, honey bear. But yeah, ducks are, they're just really, really fun, and they're beautiful, and there's a lot of variety, and you typically, on a good day, you get a lot of action. And that's what I like about birds generally. I've done a little bit of big game hunting, and I enjoy mammal meat. But I have friends who give me mammal meat, so I just focus on birds.
Yes.
And I live alone. I don't need that much meat, so I'd rather go out and have a lot of hunting and come home with enough birds to eat for the year than go out and shoot an elk and my freezer's full and I don't have room for anything else now.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do that because I have friends who go out and shoot an elk every year, and then they're like, we don't have room in our freezer. Holly, take some. I'm like, okay.
Good friends to have.
Yes, exactly. No, it works out really well. And I have a friend who just went through this, and she'd send me a message. It's like, my freezer's full. Can you take some meat? Okay, Alex is coming right over. That's the easiest big game hunt I've ever done.
It's good. Yeah, definitely. If it's always good for people to know that you have freezer space as a backup. That's always useful.
Right. Yeah.
So are there, in your area, and forgive me because I'm pretty new to waterfowl hunting, like your description of the birds coming in, I've never experienced that. And it sounds amazing. It sounds amazing, but I the only duck hunting and goose hunting I've done is from a canoe with a bow.
Wow.
But that's just on my own and kind of just messing around and realizing, oh wow, there's a bit of this is something I can actually do because I'm under self-power. Like there's all these kind of rules, aren't there? So
right.
But apart from that, yeah, I haven't done the whole experience. It seems like, like you said, it's a big show, but it also seems like a bit of a team sport. Or do you ever go out on your own with your gear? Or I imagine you've got to have a few people because there's so much gear and so much organization and planning and setting up and all that kind of stuff.
I go alone all the time and I go with friends all the time. My only preference is I don't like to hunt with more than one other person most of the time, just because if you're hunting with two people, this is my area for shooting and this is your area for shooting. And if you've got three people, this is mine, this is yours, and the person in the middle gets this.
Yes.
So the three-person situation is just harder. The hard thing about hunting ducks alone is you get backdoored a lot. So some duck will come from behind and you won't see it until it's out of range. So, but now I have a dog. So now when ducks are coming near, all I have to do is watch her face and she will tell me exactly where they are. 'Cause she'll just be like, it's right there, Mom.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So no, we have all these elaborate systems for carrying all our gear. So for a while I had a pack frame and I carried my stool and netting that I could use to cover things up and all my decoys on a pack frame. And that was great. But then I got my dog and I hunt in standing water a lot. So I will just plunk a seat down in the tules, which around most of the rest of the country, people call it bulrush, but in California, we call them tules. I will stick a tule seat there. And then I've got to set up a stand for her because she can't just stand in the water. That would get really cold. And the stand is really big. So now I have a cart, which is a converted Bob double jogger. Bob double jogger is the most coveted thing among duck hunters because you can strip out all the baby stuff and it will perfectly fit a standard sled. So we have these plastic sleds. People use them for deer hunting also.
Yes,
and
okay.
you take the cart out to wherever you're putting into the water, and then you slide the sled off, and then you float everything out the rest of the way. So it's a lot of crap in my car.
Yeah.
It is a lot. But I have either a backpack or a cart or a sled to carry it at all times. So Yeah,
Okay.
that's how I deal with the staggering amounts of gear. But the more battery operated stuff you have, the more delicate it is, and some batteries are really heavy, and
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
things get crimped that you don't want to get crimped. So I try to keep it as simple as possible. I like a duck hunt where I can throw out half a dozen decoys and sit down and be quiet and just blow my duck call well and get some ducks. So that is my ideal. I would rather not have battery operated anything. I
Yeah.
wish battery operated stuff was banned completely, because then none of us would have to have it anymore. But because some of us have it, many of us do. You have to.
Yeah, it seems like anytime you're combining electronics with water, that's going to be problematic.
It's yeah, it's crazy. We do. Duck hunters are crazy. We are certifiably insane, and that's why waterfowl hunters are the smallest part of the hunting population, because we're nuts. But it's really good.
It seems like, well, quite the commitment to get up so early. And I mean, 3 times a week, that's intense, I got to say.
Yeah, well, I did that when I had someone else in the house who was, had a nice meal ready for me when I got home, and
Okay.
and I was also working a job where I had some, when I was teaching, especially, I had some flexibility. You get your job done when you get it, you just get it done on certain whatever schedule works for you, so you could go hunting. But yeah, hunting all weekend long. So I would, work all week and then get up at 1 or 2 a.m. on Saturday morning, go hunt. And because I was a terrible shot, oh God, I was such a bad shot. I'd hunt all day. I'd hunt till sunset to try and get my limit. And then I'd turn around and go home. And then I would do it again the next morning. And it's like an hour and a half drive to the place I was hunting. It was absolutely nuts. Hunting got much better for me when I actually learned how to shoot. that was very helpful.
How long did that take, do you think? Where you actually...
I think it was like 5 years before I became a competent shot. And, for the shotgunners out there, they may know that we have dominant eyes, just like you have a
Yes.
dominant hand. I'm right-handed. I'm left-eye dominant. This
I'm the
causes
same. Yeah.
hand-eye coordination problems. I knew about that, though, so I started shooting a shotgun left-handed, which is... Then it turned out I was center-left dominant, and my right eye tries to kick in. I probably could have shot right-handed, and I just end up shutting one eye when I'm shooting anyway. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I'm not natural. I was terrible at sports. Anything requiring hand-eye coordination, I was really, really awful. So when I first started shooting, I was very, very bad. I hunted excessively in my first year, and I killed 2 ducks and 1 goose. And the goose had been hit by 2 other hunters before me. One guy shot it, and it was like coming toward in front of me, and then my ex was before me, so he shot it and hit it but didn't drop it, and then I shot it and it finally fell and hit the water, and I'm like, yes, I got it. And now if that happened again, I would pick it up and take it to the first guy who shot it, because it was clearly his bird. And I ended up seeing him in the parking lot later. I'm like, this is my first goose ever. This is my first year hunting. And so he's like, he totally forgave me. But yeah, so I had to practice a lot. And that's one of the other things I love about helping new hunters is, if you are also a bad shot, I can tell you that with practice, you can overcome it. You don't have to be a natural. It's really fun to be a natural. But when you work hard at it, you can be better than the naturals who don't put any effort into it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
hard
exactly.
work and practice
Commitment.
solves a lot.
We're going to come back to this conversation in just 30 seconds time. But first, this is an invitation to check if you are already subscribed or following the podcast. Then now's a perfect moment. Give it a quick follow, give us a subscribe, and make sure that you are in the queue so that you will always be up to date with all the adventures that are coming down the pipeline. We have some really good ones lined up, and I'm sure there's ones that I don't even know about that are destined for the future of this podcast. Here's Holly. So when the birds are coming in and you have that feeling like they're coming, they're going to do it, what are the birds that you hope most are the ones that are in your sights? Because there must be some favorites.
Yes. Pintail, which is an elegant, incredibly beautiful bird, and they just have the cleanest, most perfect fat. And when they're rice fed, they're absolutely delicious. So I've never had a bad pintail. I love American widgeon. American widgeon, my first duck was an American widgeon, so I'm very fond of that. I love the call they make, their whistling sound. It's a really neat sound, and it's a lot easier to do than blowing a duck call, the quack, quack, quack call.
Okay.
And they are, usually as delicious as a pintail. They're just a smaller bird. And then a green-winged teal is the same level of excellence in taste, but a much smaller bird. So its body is about this big. It's the smallest duck.
That's
The
like
smallest of all the ducks.
Orange, almost the sort of size that you're doing there.
A really big orange that's been squished a little bit.
Okay.
And teal are really fun because they fly a little bit crazy. And so when you can hit one, I mean, when you hunt on public land in California, much of the public land has a 25 shell limit. And so you can only have 25 shells in the field. So if you blow through a box of shells, typically you can get more, but you have to go to your car to get it. And if you're a long way from your car, it's going to be exhausting. So you try and conserve shells. And teal are the single biggest thing that make people blow through shells at an alarming and embarrassing rate. So teal, people think they fly fast. They actually don't. They only fly 35 miles an hour. And there are many faster ducks. But they fly low. And when they're coming straight at you, they do this thing where it looks like they're braiding. It looks like they're like there'll be a whole group of them doing this, and then you're just like mesmerized. Like imagine the little googly eye thing happening. So it just kind of blows your mind. And they come, if they're coming straight at you, this is the very worst thing. You do not ever want them coming straight at you. You stand up to shoot, and they form this starburst like fireworks. They just go boosh like this. And so the first person who shoots is going to miss because they're going up so fast, you will shoot below them. And the smart people wait for some guy to empty his gun first. And then when they're straight overhead, you can just pick them off quite effectively. I still, after 20 years, don't have self-control to not take that first shot because it's just like, I have to do it. And also sometimes they do a lot of slow or low flying across the water in front of you. So teal are highly likely to do crossing shots. And I am a little bit unusual in that the crossing shot is my favorite shot. It is my very best. And so teal shooting is... It's when you shoot teal well, when you actually get one, it's a sign of being a good shot. So you get a tasty little bird that plucks really, really fast, which is also nice. And it means you did a good job shooting. It's not like a fat old mallard sitting there doing this over the water. And it's like, that's not hard to shoot. And it's just like, bang, point and shoot. So yeah, teal are a point of pride. And yeah.
Do you think that makes them taste better as well? Because there's the achievement of getting it.
No, but it's nice that it's, bufflehead are also hard to shoot, but I don't feel that excited when I get them because they actually their fat tastes actually really terrible and fishy. So I try not to shoot bufflehead. So maybe you're right. Maybe the satisfaction is also because it's a good duck. I mean, you're always happy when you get a tasty duck, and every once in a while you misidentify something and get a not tasty duck, and
So that was one of the things I wanted to ask you about, and you've kind of gone into it already, but some ducks have a bad rep was my question. So you made me think of, and I think this is maybe one of the ducks that has a bad rep. I think the first duck I shot with my bow when I was on the canoe was a merganser.
I'm so sorry. Last time I shot a merganser, I had it mounted because I didn't want to eat it.
So that's the funny thing, because a few of my friends had the same reaction when I told them that exactly. And I was like, what are you talking about? But the thing was, apparently they taste bad. But like, I actually found it pretty tasty, but I think because people warn me that they're super fishy, I think that's the kind of understanding, right?
Yeah.
So I just
because they literally eat
it.
Fish, Robin.
yeah, obviously. Yeah, I just smoked it for like a long time. I put it in the thing, and it tasted great.
Wow. Well, then
maybe that was just
it
my
a common
enthusiasm.
merganser? A common merganser or a hooded?
The hooded ones, the ones with like the thing behind there.
Yeah, and they're smaller, and the common is pretty big.
Okay. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think it was the common. I don't know.
I think I've heard the commons taste better, and I've only shot one, and I had it mounted. The hooded mergansers, I know all the tricks. Like generally with a bad tasting duck, all the bad taste lives in the skin and fat. So if you take off the fat, it's good. And with many bad tasting ducks, you can cook the breast, and if you take off all the fat, it's fantastic. And sometimes you can cook the legs, and after long cooking, the bad tastes in the legs are actually pretty neutralized. I don't think you'd want the skin like on a spoonie, which is also often a foul tasting duck. No pun intended. But yeah, as with hooded mergansers, when you take the skin off, and by the way, you have to fillet them, it will not pull off cleanly. The meat still has a rank taste to it. And I know many people who can eat that and they're fine with it. No, that's a lie. I don't know many people. I know a couple of people who will eat them and be fine with it, but I want my duck to taste like duck. So I just try really hard not to shoot those.
Yeah.
I'm glad it tasted good for you. I mean, that's great.
Well, I didn't shoot another one, so it can't have been that good.
All right. Well, there you go. That tells you everything you need to know.
Okay. Well, okay.
Yeah, people have a lot of funny biases, though, because like a ruddy duck is in the diver duck category. People think all diver ducks taste bad, but then they forget that a canvasback is a diver duck, and a canvasback tastes exceptional because it's eating... Their favorite thing is, well, they like wild celery, and there's not a lot of that around, so they eat a lot of sago tuber, and it makes them, it's like a little potato. So they're like a little potato fattened duck. They're delicious. And ruddy ducks, for some reason, they have a really bad rep, and ruddy ducks are fun. They're a small duck, a little bit bigger than a teal, and they've got this fat little bill, and they've got this stiff tail that when they're parading around on the pond, the tail sticks up really stiff, and they've got cute little heads, and they walk like they swim like models on the runway. They'll be like super cute. And people think they taste bad, and they're actually delicious. They eat a lot of the places I shoot them. They eat sea purslane seed, which is lovely and does not make them taste stinky. And I have found with most of my ruddy ducks, their fat tastes like beefsteak fat.
Really?
There's something beefy about it that makes no sense whatsoever, but it's very, very noticeable. Very beefy. Yeah. So I'll shoot them every chance I get. And they're often fun because they will come by in big groups. And there was a day where I was on a pond with like 1,000 of them that just kept swimming up and down this pond, having a good old time. And once they decided, or flying, they decided to fly in front of me, and they were 20 yards out, which is perfect, and a couple feet off the water, and left to right shot, which is just my best shot. And I'm sitting there letting them go by, waiting, and I'm like, okay, now. So I pick one and shoot, and 4 went down.
In one shot?
In one shot. A single shot. I did not fire a second shot. 4. I looked, there was just like bodies everywhere, and wow, and they were so delicious. They're so good.
That's efficiency, so good. Right there.
Yeah, and people think you're settling when you shoot them. It's like, no, I'm not settling at all. They're delicious.
So tell me about banded birds. That's a funny culture which I don't exactly understand, because it seems like the opposite culture to big game hunting. Like you want to be like the pristine, untouched animal if you find one with a tag. So yeah, it's kind of different. Hey,
banding is, first of all, it's part of the thing we do for science. It's it's one of the tools that we use to understand how waterfowl populations are doing. So one of the tools that we use is aerial surveys. So they will go up in the spring in Canada and all the big breeding population areas and literally fly over in planes and helicopters and count duck pairs. And this sounds really ridiculous, but it works, and trained people can actually do it quite well. One of the other tools we use is bands. So you put a band on a duck. It's got a unique name. It's got a phone number on it and a website. Actually, it's probably just the website now that goes back to the bird banding laboratory in Laurel, Maryland. And they want people to report that band. And some people don't report it because they're afraid it's going to get taken away from them or something, but that's ridiculous. And when you report it, what you find out is when and where that bird was banded and its estimated age when it was banded, which typically means that it was young of the year or a second year bird. And if it's older than that, they don't know. They just say it's an adult. So, when we shoot ducks, all we know about their life is where they were the date and time we shot them. And when you get a banded bird, you get this piece of information. It's like, this one was banded in Alaska, or this one was banded a mile away when it was still too young to fly. And it's just this cool piece of information that you get. And now they're doing GPS tags on birds. They have these little tiny GPS backpacks, like smaller than like half the size of a GoPro. And With those birds, they've got a little transmitter that sends something to a cell tower every 30 minutes. And so they can see exactly where these birds have been. And you can see remarkable things. Like there was a pintail I wrote about once where she had left the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta in Alaska. She's just sitting around waiting, and one day she decided it's time to fly, which probably means there was a good tailwind. So she got up and flew across the ocean. I think it was like 1,200 miles to a nice little spot in Oregon. She flew 1,200 miles in like a little over, it was a ridiculously short time. I'm thinking like 36 hours. So
Wow.
if you do the math, it was faster than ducks actually fly, which means she had a tailwind.
Yeah.
But they are amazing. And when you kill a wild duck and you eat the meat, you will see that the breast meat is very dark red, and it's because they used those muscles to migrate thousands of miles. So when you can actually see what that duck did to get to where she was going, it's like she sat there and flapped her wings for 1,200 miles. That's nuts.
Yeah.
And then you see other cool stuff like cinnamon teal. Cinnamon teal is one of the 3 birds that breed in substantial numbers in California. And so we're very interested in them here. And they're a cute little bird. I've got one on the wall right up above my computer right here. It was from the first limit of ducks I ever got. They're just absolutely gorgeous. And there was this one Drake cinnamon teal that they had a tag on him, and he spent the entire duck season in one pond at a duck club. Never left. He was just a homebody. He just spent all his time there and managed not to get shot. And, you get to see all these cool facts. So to me, what I love about bands is the story they tell and the story that the data tells. There are some people who, when you get a band, sometimes you put it on your call lanyard or something else, and it's like, ooh, I got a band. It's like getting a really good prize in a Cracker Jack box, and man, I just dated myself there because I don't think they put good prizes in Cracker Jack boxes anymore. But I've got a few sitting on my wall. I don't put them on my lanyard. I've got 6 or 7, I think maybe 6. It's not a lot. But some people really go after them. Like it's this point of pride to have a lanyard that's just covered with bands. And typically what it means if you've got that many bands is you hunt in a place where they ban birds. Because if you hunt where they're banding them, they tend to stay there for a while before they fly off and move someplace else. So there will be high concentrations of birds with bands. And then there's people who actually target banded birds, and the biologists really hate it when people do that because it skews the data. The whole point is to get data about how old the bird was when it died, and that helps them determine there's formulas that help them determine population levels and the health of the population. So when you've got people specifically targeting them, it skews data, so they don't like that.
So when you say targeting, do you mean like they're looking in the sky, they're seeing a bunch of birds, and they can actually see one that has a band on, or they know the area where they're going to be, so they're trying to go there to target them?
I think, and I haven't done this, so my knowledge is kind of limited here, but I think if you're in a place where they band a lot of mallards, and you can get mallards to come close to you because there's not a lot of pressure. When the mallards come in and come close to you, they're flapping their wings like this, and their legs are dropped down completely. So if you've got 5 mallards in front of you, you can see the band on one of the legs.
Okay.
So that's how you target them. You can't see a band from a distance.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, they've got to be really close. So it's really a function of if you've got a bunch of birds coming in and you see bling on one of them, then you go for that one.
Yeah.
I don't care that much. I mean, honestly, if I saw one that had a band, I would probably want to target it too, because it's just fun, because then you know something about it. Man, I was on a hunt with a guy. He was in a different party than mine, but he went out with another guy, and a pair of mallards came in, a hen and a drake, and one got the drake and one got the hen, and both were banded. And so they reported to the bird banding laboratory as soon as they got in and had cell phone connection. And those birds had been banded one day apart in the same place 6 years earlier.
Wow.
Which means, now I'm extrapolating, but I feel like this is a pretty safe bet, that was a mated pair that had been together for 6 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's the cool thing about bands. It's like it tells you a story. You get how often do you get to really understand the story of a person even who you get a fleeting glimpse of once? You just don't. And the story is what makes it so exciting. And it's funny, the story is what makes hunting exciting too. I feel like the story of the hunt is, we love sharing that with each other, all hunters. Like, it doesn't matter how different you are, how different your politics are, how different your background is. You get together with another hunter and you start talking about the kind of hunting experiences you've had, and you're just immediately enthralled. You are immediately connected because of these stories that we share with one another. So our attraction to stories is, I think, a good thing. It's among the more wholesome things we could say about ourselves as humans.
Well, I can imagine it's probably some of the oldest stories known to mankind, right? Like that's
right. It's the original story. It's the original storytelling. And it's funny, there were, when my ex was still here, if I'd been working all day and he'd been hunting and he came home, like if he came home from work, I didn't necessarily want to hear a whole lot about his day, but he came home from a hunt and it'd be like, I want to hear everything. Tell me every detail. And it was the same. Like you will drop everything and listen to that story, when you don't really want to drop everything to listen to the story of how your computer was giving you trouble today and someone kept messaging you and then you had to go to a meeting that you didn't want to go to. It's like, who cares?
It's true.
But tell me everything about your hunt. Tell me everything about when those birds came in, or when you saw the buck, or the crazy thing that happened that had nothing to do with killing anything, like when 2 swans flew over your head. The story is everything.
It's interesting as well, though, because there is like that duality, and we talked about this a bit before, but there is a duality of feeling, right? Like, it's incredible having that information that tells you the story of those 2 ducks that were together for 6 years, but there's also a sadness to that story as well. Like, you can't step away from that. And I think that's maybe what people who aren't hunters, and this is speculation because I'm not in that group anymore, but I think that's what makes people feel they connect to that part and they find that part the sad part. But I think the reality is like this is nature, right? And that's just something that you've talked about before as well, like the detachment of like feeling like humans are better than all other animals, and I mean, other animals have been predating, animals eat each other all the time.
Right. In horrifying fashion.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely horrifying fashion. And I think the disconnection from understanding that's how things are. And you're right. It is sad. It's like, oh, they were a cute little couple and then you killed them. And then you kind of feel good that you at least got both of them. So one of them didn't have to be sad. That's like our little consolation prize. Well, at least they're not grieving each other. I don't know.
I guess, yeah.
But this is how nature is. And I think humans generally, and I think very specifically humans in our society, we have come to expect that bad things aren't supposed to happen. And in nature, bad things happen all the time. You can trip and fall. You can injure yourself. You can get sick. You can consume the wrong thing and you can die, or you can be predated.
Yeah, you can watch your siblings get torn apart by predators.
Exactly. And we've come to expect that bad things should never happen. And when you listen to people talking about death, they often describe how wronged they feel by having had this person taken away from them. And it is simply how life is. And I think our views about death are a reflection of our complete disconnection from the way life is. Like, rights are a construct. There is no entitlement to life. You can try. You can give it your best in nature. That's all you can do. That's the only right you have, is you can give it a try and see if you can make it, and see how long you can make it, and hope that you live a good life and that when your life ends, it doesn't suck too bad. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
It's all the best any of us can hope for, I guess.
Right. Right.
So something that I'm curious about then, talking about banded birds and the nuances of the excitement of that situation, it must have been a pretty steep learning curve then at the moment. You said you go out hunting on your own a lot. Like, I mean, figuring this stuff out, I mean, that's bewildering to me. How many days must you have had where you're just like, well, nope, I guess nothing flew into me this time?
My early duck hunting experiences, I went duck hunting. My first duck hunt was in mid-November 2006. And I would go hunt with my boyfriend. And then I remember it was somewhere between Christmas and New Year's. It was probably a Wednesday. A friend said, hey, let's go up to Sacramento National Wildlife Refuge and go duck hunting. And he didn't have a reservation. A reservation is how you get the right to get in early before shoot time. And he says, no, you don't need a reservation. You can just cruise in at 9 o'clock, having slept in and enjoyed your coffee. And then you just get in line and wait. And as people come out, they let more people back in. And I looked at this and it's like, this is money. I can do this. Yeah. And basically, if you want to hunt ducks alone, there's some people who feel like if you can't identify every duck, you have no business out there shooting ducks. I disagree with them completely. And there is, in fact, a former chief of the wardens in California who said this is his duck identification advice for new hunters. And it is this. If you can't identify a duck in there, first of all, if you can tell a duck from a not duck and all ducks are open, and when I first started hunting, canvasbacks were closed for a couple of years. But if all ducks are open and you know it's a duck, then you can go duck hunting, even if you can't identify which species of duck it is. But you need to be able to identify it if you shot one and you pick it up and you have to know that's a widgeon or that's a hen mallard or that's a pintail or a scaup. And the minute you have a limit of anything, and duck limits are very confounding for people. We can have 3 pintail, we can have 2 hen mallards, but 7 mallards total, and 2 or 3 scaup, and 2-ish canvasback, depending on what the regs are for that year. You have to know what those regs are, and when you hit your limit, if you can't identify a duck in the air, your hunt is over. And that's a really good way to do it. And no one had told me that when I started doing that, but in fact, it was purely academic because I couldn't hit a damn thing. So like I would go out there and blow my call. I had some very simple calls that I was reasonably good at. And I was hunting at the Delavan National Wildlife Refuge. And the staff at the check station, they are so nice to new hunters. All the check stations I've been at, they want you to be successful. And so they want you to have a good time. So they would see me come in there, a chick going out and hunting alone, and they would try and set me up, like a blind would come available, and they'd be like, Holly, don't take that one. Wait for another one. Another one will come up. And they would try and do me right. And I would go out and I would come back at the end of the day and I would check out and they'd say, did you get any ducks? And I'd be like, no. And they say, did you shoot? And I said, yeah. How much? Well, I shot the whole box of shells. I don't know what I was doing wrong because I can't remember, and I don't think GoPros had happened quite yet. Maybe they were just starting then. I don't know, but I don't know what I was doing wrong. I don't know if I just couldn't hit or they weren't coming close enough, but yeah, I never dropped anything while it was alone. It's like a big deal the first time you can actually get a duck hunting alone because it's complicated and it's a lot easier if you've got a friend who's worrying about the calling for you, so you could just focus on trying to hit the damn thing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so I'm pretty intrepid about doing stuff alone like that, and I'm utterly unafraid to look stupid and foolish and ask for help from people. I don't care. It's just like, help? Can I go over there? No. Okay, can I go over here? All right, cool. Thank you.
I feel similar in a way. For me, it's like a big it's exciting. It's really exciting. I love the situation where you don't know what the hell you're doing, you know, and you get somewhere and you're kind of completely overwhelmed and you need to learn fast. That's a really, I think that makes, at least for me, it makes me feel alive. So trying new stuff, I think is a great thing that keeps things interesting. But then I'm curious, if you're saying you're always chasing new experiences, or not new experiences, but you're not afraid to jump in. What stopped you from getting a hunting dog sooner? Because you've been hunting for a while, and I'm sure lots of other people had hunting dogs around you.
Yes, and there were so many reasons. I'm going to have to try and list them all here. So a couple things. The way we hunt ducks at California refuges, most of the areas are walking depth ponds. So you walk out into the water and it's maybe knee deep, and sometimes it might be hip deep, but you can walk everywhere. So you can go out and fetch your own duck. And I learned to hunt ducks without a dog, so I became proficient at trying to shoot them close, because if it drops 20 yards away, it's easier to retrieve than 100 yards away. Trying really hard to shoot them dead, but it's not always easy. Shotgun is a really imprecise tool for killing, and sometimes it just breaks bones. And so try and get them close. Try and take shots of birds over open water, not over a tule bank. Not hunt in places where there's dense vegetation, because you know you're probably going to lose birds. There's a lot of places, there's a lot of duck clubs that have very dense vegetation, and you are literally not allowed to hunt without a dog. So I just tailored my hunting to hunting without a dog. And occasionally I had friends who would take me upland hunting. And, you know, I can go to the mountains and hunt mountain quail. You kind of just need to know what kind of places they will be. And I hike all summer long, so I know where many coveys are. So I can go out on opening day and I'm going to be like, I'm going to hit this covey and this covey and this covey and hope that they're there. So I didn't need a dog for the longest time. Like, the trigger for me this time was that the ducks weren't coming down. The duck hunting sucked. I needed to be able to do something else. There was other stuff about, like, you know, I was traveling a lot. My ex traveled quite a lot, and we didn't feel like a dog could fit in our life. There came a time where I was ready, but he wasn't, so he didn't get one. And then I finally just reached the point. I've been living alone for about 3.5 years now, and had a lot of things going on in my life, a lot of stuff going on. And things finally started settling down, and I decided it was time to get the dog. And like, absolutely insane learning experience. Oh yeah, here's the other thing about dogs. I came from a family whose dogs were all big idiots, and we never trained our dogs anything. Like, we didn't even teach them to sit, much less behave. So we had very poorly behaved dogs. And I thought perhaps this was a genetic condition, that I couldn't train a dog, and that I would get a dog and I would probably ruin it. So I had a great fear of that. And also, having been hunting for so long, I've been around many other dogs, and I've been around many dogs where it's like, that's not what I want. And so I had a huge fear. What if I get a dog that's terrible, and then I'm stuck with it for 12 years? Because it's your pet. You're not going to like kick it out. And it's a hunting dog, so it's going to want to go hunting. And I had a huge fear that I would just get a really horrible dog. I remember one day hunting at Delavan in my usual spot. There was a guy hunting near my party, and every time ducks were coming in, his dog would start baying like a hound baying at a treed bear. Like, this is not cool, really. And it's like, wow, that's not cool. And somehow ducks are highly tolerant of weird things that dogs do. So everyone was still getting ducks anyway. And then my buddy dropped a duck between us and the guy with the baying dog. And so he drops the duck, and my buddy gets up to go get it, and the other dog comes out. And so they're both heading toward it. And my buddy starts running, and running through the water is really, really, really hard. A dog can do it a lot better than we can do. Yeah. And he gets to it, and he snatches up the bird, like, just inches away from the dog's mouth. And I was just laughing my ass off. I thought that was hilarious. And I got back and I said, "That was hilarious, Charlie." And he said, "No, that dog eats every bird he picks up." And it's like, wait, you're telling me that there's this hunter who's got a dog who bays when ducks are coming in and eats every bird he picks up. What is the point of that? So I was terrified I would end up with a dog like that. So I just stacked all the odds in my favor. I consulted a lot of people when I decided to get a dog. I knew what breed I wanted. I knew I wanted a poodle pointer. And no, that's not like a labradoodle. We have to say this. Like, poodle pointer, comma, we have to explain things. It's a breed from the 1880s in Germany, where they took 7 German hunting poodles, roughly, and 70 English pointers, and they came up with the perfect hunting dog. So it's a versatile dog. So she hunts upland and she hunts ducks. She's absolutely wonderful. And it only took 7 poodles to put all that smarts in there and all the water savvy. So they're absolutely incredible dogs. So The person who inspired me to get a poodle pointer, his name is Wade Zarlingo. He hunts in Arizona, and I hunted over his dog hunting for Mearns quail one year. And when he said she could also hunt ducks, I'm like, okay, when I get a dog, it's going to be a poodle pointer. So Wade said, join NAVDA. It's the North American Versatile Hunting Dog. Oh, I'm going to blow it. Alliance or Association? I can't read this. So, but it's for versatile dogs, and it's a very hunting driven. It's not a show dog kind of organization. It's all about testing dogs for versatile hunting skills. So he said, join NAVDA. There's a lot of people who can help you train a dog. I consulted someone from the local NAVDA chapter, and I said, who breeds poodle pointers around here? And the woman said, I don't know, but talk to this woman. She's a judge for tests. And so I talked to that woman, and she talked to me about a couple breeders who produced good poodle pointers. And so I wound up with a breeder who just came up with an incredible pairing. He's actually done it twice because he was so happy with the results of the first litter. And so I stacked the odds in my favor by getting an extremely well-bred dog. And then I have just worked my ass off. I'm really new to all this stuff, but I am determined to have a dog that's really good. So we train every day. We're either training or hunting every day. And now I'm training twice a day. And I don't always do everything right. The breeder, he gave me so much advice last summer when I was first teaching my dog, because I ran her through a NAVDA test. It was called a natural ability test. And they just test a few aspects of a puppy that they're not about training. You do need to take your dog out and give it the chance to experience these things to get some practice at it. But it's really, can they point? Will they swim? Are they afraid of gunshots? How do they use their nose? Do they want to cooperate with their human?
Okay.
So I consulted with him extensively when I was training in the summer, and he gave me so much advice, and I could follow like a fifth of it. It was so completely overwhelming. I'm sure he thought I was a complete idiot. It was actually a great reminder, though, of what it's like to be so new at something and how overwhelming it is. Because as a mentor, I've been doing it so long now. I love mentoring. I love being with new hunters because it reminds me of the rush of learning new things. But the truth is, I've forgotten a lot of what it's like to be that new at something. And then the dog, training her, that reminded me, it's like, oh yeah, I'm a complete idiot. And we just power through it. And she puts up with my crap. And when I have to change the way I'm doing something because I wasn't doing it right, she tolerates it and accepts it and learns and moves on. And it's the best experience. Although the first 8 weeks of like shredding my arms with her puppy teeth and peeing everywhere in the house and pooping all over the house, it was really, really hard. Like, because I hadn't had a dog as an adult, and you get a puppy and everyone's like, oh, you get a puppy, that's so cute. And it's like, no, it's not. It's hell. It's
so
absolute living hell. Oh my God. Well, just the pain. Just like I would go to bed and I would slather lidocaine on my hands at night because she'd bitten them so much because I didn't have another dog for her to play with. So she got to play with me. And it's like puppies play with their teeth, they just.
Wow. So how long have you been together then, you and your pup?
I got her on February 16th, 2025. So she just turned 17 months.
Okay.
So she's getting close to the end of what we would call her puppy years. I think through 2 people will call them puppy, but she's getting pretty mature. So she has 1 season under her belt, and it's just so fascinating watching her learn and grow. And she went through a growth period about a month ago where she started using her nose differently, and she's like, oh shit, Mom, I got a computer on the end of my face. This is awesome. It was just that you could see the realization on her face. You could see how suddenly she was using her nose in a fine-tuned way, whether I was throwing her a bumper or we have a game we play in the morning. One of her treats is little cheese cubes, like tiny little cubes, like pinky fingernail size. And I hide the cheese when she's out of sight, and then she has to come into the room and find all 6 pieces of cheese. And watching how she uses her nose to find the cheese, because she can barely see them. And so she's got to really just hone in on it. It's really cool. It's fun. It's fun to work with an animal that is really smart and talented and just needs some guidance to get to where you want to go, and who is so completely driven by wanting to please her human. I mean, that's how we selected dogs. We selected dogs that wanted to please us. And so I've got this dog who just loves to make me happy.
That's amazing.
It's wonderful. I really like it's been it was awful at first. I had to replace my carpet. Oh my god, there were so many pee stains. There was like 20 pee stains. The guy came in, I had it cleaned, and the guy came in with the black light thing. You didn't even need the black light. You could just see it everywhere. It's just awful. And then finally I'm just like all the stains came back after he cleaned it, and I just replaced it. That was pretty rough. The amount of money I've spent is just staggering. The pup was not very expensive. The pup was like $2,000, and I stopped keeping track of how much I was spending. About the time I hit $13,000, I'm like, I don't really want to know this anymore. I'm just going to stop keeping track, because there's a lot of gear. There's a lot of crates that you need to buy, stuff for training. A lot of equipment for training. It was super expensive, but now I'm pretty geared up.
Yeah.
So there's that.
The investment is there now, and you can just enjoy time with your dog.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be amazing. So are there any stories of moments where the training started to work? You said you've been out hunting together?
Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you some stories of failure first.
Okay, please do.
I kind of went into thinking it was so easy to teach her to sit. I started training her in her first 24 hours at home, and she learned sit so quickly. It's like, this is easy.
Yeah.
But it's not all easy, because some of the stuff you have to teach them is to restrain themselves when they're excited about something. That is the hardest thing to teach. And there's a lot of things where just because they're born and bred to do it doesn't mean they're good at it right away. They have to go out and experience it. So we played fetching games, retrieving bumpers, throwing. I taught her how to stay in one place and not go to retrieve something until I released her to do it, so she sits quietly in the blind. These are all important things to me. And on my first duck hunt, it was a terrible hunt. We only got 2 birds, and they all came in. It was teal that came in the same flock, and then nothing else happened all day. But I dropped my teal, and I gave Fritzy the release, and she's like, what? Because she didn't see me throw a bumper for her. And I said, oh, okay, I'm going to have to take you out. And I took her out, and I'm like, it's right there. She's like, what? And she goes up to the bird, and it's dead. At least we didn't have a chase going on. And she goes up, and she picks it up by the edge of her teeth on the tip of its tail. And she's like, just carrying it by the tip of its tail. And I tried to get her to carry it all the way back to her place, and she's like, yeah, I don't know about this. And you're like, what? I thought this was supposed to be this magical moment where everything came together. And then people are like, no, sometimes your whole first season, you're walking them out to the duck because they just don't understand everything that's happening yet. So it takes time. So the next duck hunt I went on, I'm like, I expected it. I was like, I'm going to have to take her out to the ducks. And it was fine. It worked pretty well. And then my friend and I, each of us dropped a mallard, and we both went out to get him. My mallard flew about 7,500 yards and then fell dead. So I knew we were going to find him. I was pretty sure he was dead. And then his mallard dropped right next to a clump of tules, like a foot away, and he was quite lively, and he swam right into it. And it's like, oh crap. Well, he's a big duck, so I'm thinking my dog's going to go in there and pull this duck out. So we walk out there. I send the dog in. She's like, rah! She goes in, and she's looking around, and she's not coming out with the duck. She comes out multiple times without the duck. And I'm like, how hard can this be? So I'm like, tell my friend Pat, I gotta go. I'm gonna go get my bird because I don't want to lose it. If it's still alive, I don't want it to be long gone. And she went and found my bird. It was in a place where I never would have seen it, so she did a great job. Good job, Fritzy. And then we go back to his tule patch, and I say, well, let's try this a different way. And we had both gone in, Pat and I had both gone in looking through the tules trying to find it. And so I'm like, I'm going to have Fritzy go in where I was, and then I'm going to go into this other spot where she'd been searching. So I go in. It's very hard to walk in this stuff. It's super dense. It's like walking through a lawn that's 8 feet high, really stiff. So I look down, and I see a mallard feather in front of me. It's like the mallard has come this way. And I take a few more steps, plow through, and I see a couple more feathers. And then I look ahead of me, and there is a pile of feathers and the duck, quite dead. And I pick it up, and Fritzy had gone in, and she's like, ah, shit, this thing's alive. So she killed it and then just left it there. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a problem. So I brought him out and apologized to Pat. It's like, Pat, he has some holes in him. I'm sorry. And I posted on Facebook. I asked all my friends for advice, and they're like, she's a puppy, she'll get it. And that's probably been one of the hardest things to learn is you think they're just like a little computer that you're going to program, and they're not. They're a living thing that programs itself slowly, just the way we do when we learn to hunt.
Yeah.
The parallels are exact. We're stupid idiots when we're trying to learn how to hunt too. So she just had to go through the motions. So I had two other really stellar experiences with her. One was in January where some ringnecks came down the pond, right to left shot. I drop one and it goes down, and I had a feeling it probably was not dead, but it goes down out of sight. I'm sitting here, there's a clump of tules here, and it goes down past the tules. So I send Fritzy out to get the bird, and she's very good. She goes out, and I get out there with her, and I'm looking around, and she goes into the tule patch where I think it is, and she comes out with nothing. And she wasn't there long enough to kill it, so I know we're probably good. And then she's like, Mom, I'm going to look over here. And I'm like, I think you should look over here. Oh, I'm going to look over there. And it's like, no, I think you should look here. So I brought her back, and I'm like, get in there. And she goes in once and comes out with nothing. And then I'm like, get in there again. And she goes into another spot, and she comes out with my duck. It was like, this is the most amazing thing ever. So she got it. She gave it to me. She didn't mangle it. And it was just... that was January, so that was about probably about 2.5 months after the unfortunate mallard incident. So she just needed a little time to understand that's what she's supposed to do. And what makes Mom happy is when you bring her ducks. Nothing makes Mom happier than you coming up and giving her a duck. It is the best gift you can give to your mommy. So that was her vindication. My first truly great moment with her on a duck hunt was I had two specks come in, speckled belly geese. Speckled belly geese are absolutely delicious. And they came in and landed, and I couldn't see them for a while. And I finally, I was waiting, so I told Fritzy, place, don't move. So I get up, and I get a shot at one of the birds, and I shoot and drop it. And then the other one's flying away, and I take 2 more shots at it, and I don't get it. But it starts circling. So I tell Fritzy, place! And she holds very still, and I hold very still. And it turns out this was a mated pair. So one of them was coming back for the one that I had shot. And by God, he came close enough, and I shot, and I dropped him. And Fritzy still stayed on place. Now, if you are around a young dog with a high hunt drive and birds are falling out of the sky, it takes an incredible amount of restraint for them to hold still. So she held still through all of that. It took a while for him to circle back. She held still through all of that. And then she came back or she was sitting there, and I gave her release word, and she just launched out and got it. She's a tiny little dog. She's 53 pounds. She's smaller than most labs are. And she wrestles this big thing in her mouth and brings me the bird. Chomps the living crap out of it because the one she picked up was still lively. So she's still mouthing it quite a bit. But, and she brought it to me, and I'm like, I send her to get the other one, and she goes and gets the other one too. And that was in a moment of amazing restraint. A lot of people have told me that it's very hard for a dog to sit there. And that was her third waterfowl hunt when she did that. So the training had really stuck with her.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just so proud of her. And then I tried to take a picture, and I have an Android phone, and Android phones will take a picture on a voice command, and my command is it's capture. Okay. And so I kept setting up a photo and making her sit with me, and I'm holding the geese, and I'm trying to smile, and the camera's sitting up leaning against the blind, and then I would say capture, and it gives you 3 seconds. But Fritzy's release word from any command, so if she's staying or on place or anything like that, her release word is cha-cha. So every time I said capture, she'd be like, oh, okay, I can go. So I have all these selfies where she's running out of the photo. Oh my gosh!
I think you might need a new word for taking a picture.
Well, yeah, no. It turned. You can also say smile, and that works. So I just switched to smile because I'm like, what? I was so mad at her. It's like, why do you keep running away? And then it's like, oh yeah, this sounds like her release word.
Just following instructions.
Yeah. Also, but she's just terrible at photo taking. She's a gorgeous dog in candid shots, but when you try and take a posed photo, she just
doesn't get it.
She looks really bored.
One last quick reminder, make sure that you are followed, Followed? Possible. Following? Definitely. Make sure that you are following and subscribe to this podcast. I hope that you're enjoying the content so far. If you're still here, I'm going to take that as a good sign, and it probably means that you should be jumping in on the bandwagon, because there's plenty more where this came from. Here's the last part of my conversation with Holly. So I've got to say, it's great hearing all your adventures training your dogs, and yeah, the excitement of seeing them learn. But
so good.
It's actually, I mean, I never had dogs when I grew up, and I guess I hunt quite a lot with a bow, like a recurve bow, walk and stalk. So if you're walking around, in my mind, I was like, well, a dog's never really going to be an option, because I don't know, that's too risky for me. I would imagine a dog's going to make a noise or something, and it's hard enough just getting yourself in close enough to like 20 yards of an animal that's so dialed in. But my wife is from South Africa, so we go over there, and I'm lucky enough to do some hunting over there. And I actually had my perspective completely changed while I was over there, because I was hunting with a guy who owns, they are called Yak Terriers, and they're actually German bred as well, dogs. And unbelievable, I've got to say, like, we're walking around through thick terrain, stalking, trying to see an animal before it sees us, and there's a dog like at our heel, silently waiting, just not a single peep, just completely patiently waiting for a long time, and then until there's a crucial moment when, and if an arrow flies, then boff, straight away it's like following that animal, tracking it instantaneously. So it's incredible what dogs can do when they're trained to do that job. Unbelievable.
Right.
I couldn't.
Right.
So I went from
purpose-bred dog. A dog is amazing.
Yeah, incredible. So I went from being someone who thought I'd probably never have a dog for hunting purposes to like, okay, I already put a word in with the guy who breeds them. So I'm like, at some point, I'm going to be ringing your phone to get one of these.
And I will know nothing about that kind of training, but my best advice is, you must immerse yourself in organizations and people that know that kind of dog and that kind of training well. I have found, certainly with NAVDA, everyone in NAVDA is, our tests are not competitions. We are not competing for first, second, and third prize. We are doing a score. So the NAVDA testing is about, what do we want a hunting dog to do, and how well does your dog do it? So you can have a bunch of dogs that get a maximum score. And that breeds this whole environment of helpfulness. Like, everyone wants everyone else to be successful. They want other people's dogs to do well, because we're all better off when our dogs are well trained. So if you can find that kind of support group, I have an extensive support group for dog care. I found 2 of the owners of Fritzy's Littermates, and we have a Facebook message group where we talk to each other constantly about our pups, and we're all planning to go hunt chukar together this fall, which will be super fun. One of the guys lives in Tennessee, so Fritzy sees her brother Max all the time. He lives in Vallejo, which is just like about an hour and 15 minutes away, but she hasn't seen her brother Elvis in a long time. So I've got them. I've got NAVDA people. I've got the guy who inspired me to get a poodle pointer. That's Wade. I've got the breeder who gives me incredible advice. I've started dating a guy who has a poodle pointer also that's just 1 month younger than mine. We've actually trained together, and we couldn't tell them apart in the field. It's like, oh, we've got matching dogs. And so he's a great resource too, because he's had hunting dogs for a long time, and he's newer to the whole NAVDA thing, but we're constantly bouncing ideas off each other about how to solve this problem and that problem with our dogs. And the thing about dog training is there's not one way to do it. There's many ways to do it. So you have to find the thing that works best for you and for your dog. And that's when you have a big group, a big network of support, you can actually get a lot of answers and find the thing that works best for you. And it's the same thing I tell new hunters. If you're a new hunter, I'm like, don't lean on me as your only mentor, because number one, that's asking a lot of me to take you on for a whole year. But the other thing is, what if you don't like hunting with me? What if certain types of advice I give you are not helpful to you, that they just don't work for you? You need a village of people so you can learn different things about how we all hunt, and then you can pick and choose what works for you. And it's the exact same thing with dogs. So if you can aggressively find a community of support, you can do it. It's going to be really hard. So if you would like to call me when you get a dog and commiserate about the savage tears in your arms and your destroyed carpets and rugs, I'd be happy to talk, but you're going to need a different community to train that kind of dog, because that is a totally different thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that might be a few years away anyway, but it's actually, I'm curious, you're talking about mentoring people. What drew you to doing that too? Because I mean, you came into the thing, 20 years ago now, almost.
Yeah.
But is that something that's always been in your nature to mentor people?
I think teaching. So I started teaching at Sac State the same year I started hunting, and I discovered that I really liked it. I really like, I have worked really hard to get this body of knowledge. You are new at something and you need all this knowledge. And there is something wonderful about being able to share that with people. So I liked it when I was teaching, and the whole hunting thing was just like, hey, I've been there. I know what it's like. I also couldn't hit a damn thing when I was new. So I'm going to help you as much as I can. And even if I can't help you, I'm going to reassure you that if you keep this up, I promise you will get better. And just to give people that encouragement is super important. And I was also just very involved with California waterfowl. I was a volunteer for California waterfowl before I actually went to work with them, where I worked for about 9 years. And they had a lot of programs for adult hunters. And so I was connected with a lot of those programs. And then you just start creating this community. I helped start a women's duck hunt for new duck hunters with someone else who's just a like-minded person who liked helping new people. And so I just started organizing a lot of events. And I just take people on. Last year, the year before, I got referrals. I went on a podcast for CWA and talked about mentoring, and one guy tracked me down and started asking me for advice. And then someone else was referred to me by people at CWA. They're like, hey, here's a guy. He wants to go duck hunting. He has a reservation at such and such. Can you go with him? And I'll be like, okay, if I can go, I'll go. So I just randomly get connected with all these new people. And at first I was really involved in women's hunts because there's not many women. And many women, when they're learning to hunt, it is more comfortable to them to learn around other women. We feel a little bit more secure amongst each other than we do with men teaching us. Not like men are a security threat. It's just more comfortable not knowing what the hell we're doing. Because everyone gets this feeling like guys are supposed to know about guns and hunting already. And the reality is that if you're an urban guy who's never been exposed to it, you're just as ignorant as the women are. Yeah. But yeah, so women like hunting together. But I love hunting with all kinds of, like, if you are new, I like hunting with you because it will make me so happy if I'm with you when you drop your first duck, because I know what a big deal it is. Yeah, and I can help you. I could tell you things you can do in the kitchen with it, and I can tell you how I pluck it. And yeah, it's super fun, and it's not for everyone. And like, we need a lot of mentors in this world. And if you're not into mentoring, don't do it. It's okay. Make a donation to an organization that does. So there's other ways to support it, but it's very rewarding.
Oh, I would agree. I mean, I don't claim to be an expert because I've not been, well, for one, like I said, if you are an expert, then that can cut off your mind from future potential things potentially. But it is absolutely a nice moment when you're passing some information over things that you've learned in the field or things that people have taught you before. I feel like it's a nice way of reflecting on what you actually learned on your journey. That was kind of a moment for me when you start telling people tricks or things that are useful when they're maybe coming up or they're learning. You kind of realize, I do know some things about this, because you have to kind of explain. It's a bit of a process, right? Explaining the things that you understand to someone else. I think it helps you understand your own capabilities better.
100%. It not only helps you understand your capabilities, but it helps you master the topic. So I was in newspapers for 19 years, and I'm a reasonably good writer and editor. And when I taught, there were things I had to know really well. Like there were grammar rules that I'm like, kind of blew off when I was a reporter. It's like, the copy editors will catch that. And then when you're teaching, you don't have that luxury, because if you make a mistake and your students catch you at it, they will let you know. So you have to be right. You have to punctuate all your emails correctly, and you have to be able to explain things to them and know with certainty. So I really nailed the rules of grammar and punctuation most finely when I had to teach it. So anytime you have to teach something, you master it. I like doing how-to videos. I haven't done a lot, but I've done some about cooking, and I've done some about guns and stuff. And I really like the art of explaining something clearly, and then I know it. Then I've mastered it. Well, I mean, not a master. It's not like I'm a gunsmith or something, but it's like I know how to do this.
You've cemented your understanding better.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's true. And you make great videos. Like I had a look through.
Thank you.
And they are very, very easy to follow and make things that can be daunting feel simple, which is, I think that's a great thing to have.
Thank you. Thank you.
So some of those videos are instructionals on cooking game as well. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's something that I wanted to talk to you a bit more about. I mean, where do we even begin? So
many things.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I think one question. Okay. When I started hunting, and I'm curious to get your impression of this as well. When I started hunting, originally it was big game. Mm-hmm. I would look up some recipes, but my searches started like, venison recipe or bear recipe. Mm-hmm. And it would kind of result in not very good, or it would kind of mean that I didn't get very good results. And maybe that's a reflection of my ability as a cook. But also what actually I kind of realized is that I needed to be looking at other recipes and then adapting them to be more for wild game. You got a spectator walking around by you there.
Oh, she's just exited. I was just checking to see if anything bad was happening.
So I guess for me, like I was trying to figure out how to cook bear, but the bear recipes I had were bad and it wasn't tasty. So then it was only when I kind of did a beef porcini pie, Guinness porcini pie, like slow cooked, and just went, okay, I'm just going to swap in the beef here, the bear instead of the beef, that it was like, okay, this is incredible. So I guess what was your experience with that kind of thing? It's not really a question. That was a ramble.
No, that's fine. And I think my first thought is, if you've been cooking domestic meat your whole life, you are used to, well, really flaccid muscles, which totally gross me out when I see like store-bought chicken. It's like, it's like, gross. It didn't do anything for a living.
Yeah, it's true.
But, and it's, so the muscle tone is different and the fat content is really different. I mean, even the fattest ducks that we get here in Northern California don't rival the fat you get on a domestic duck. So you're dealing with very different meat and very different fat levels, and the flavors may be similar to the domestic counterparts, but you just have to understand how the difference in muscle and fat affects cooking times and cooking techniques. So, for example, last week I made fesenjan, which is a Persian recipe, and I made it for duck, and I chose to braise my duck first. I love braising. It's one of my favorite techniques. I had a bunch of legs and wings. I had 2 pounds of legs and wings. Brown them first and braise them, put them in duck stock that I made. I'm really into making my own stock and rendering my own fat. And the first legs came out of the brazier after about 3.5 hours. And then the last 2 legs, it was down to 2 legs in the pan, and they took 6.5 hours.
Wow.
And that was probably a widgeon or something, judging by the size of the legs. It was probably a widgeon. And that means it was a very, very old bird. It was very, very tough. And so that's the other thing we don't deal with. You know, when you deal with domestic meat, you're dealing with, you know, if it's a cow, it was 2 years old, and most things are very, very young and tender. And they're also very consistent. Every single chicken you get at the store is going to cook consistently because they're all basically raised the same way and fed the same stuff. I mean, if you get some organic free-range stuff, it's going to be better, but chicken is chicken. So you have to understand some of those basic rules about the cooking. And when you understand those rules, just like learning to hunt, just like training your dog, all of this stuff is about habits. Like, what are your habits for cooking? What are your go-tos? What do you know how to do that's going to work every time that you can shake things up? So I love braising legs and wings of all my birds. It's a slow cooking technique. You can keep quite a bit of fat. It ends up creating demi-glace, which is this broth that turns to jello when it's in the refrigerator and it's all jiggly, and it is unctuous and silky, and then when you cook things in it and brown them, it does really amazing things. So I like braising a lot. So braising is my go-to. So you just have to have a series of things that you do. And to really get back to the first part of your question, I wasn't the cook in my house. My ex was the cook. So I didn't do a lot of the cooking, but I kind of watched. So
yes, yeah.
I kind of had a feel for how things were. And then when I found myself on my own, I'm like, well, I better figure out how to do this. And it was just a function of finding recipes that worked for me and then understanding the techniques to apply. And with birds, it's really, really very basic. Breasts, whether it's a duck or an upland bird, are like steak. It should be cooked very quickly and not too hard, or it will turn to leather and it will taste disgusting. So you cook it like a steak. Everything else is like brisket, slow and low. Patience, 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 patience. And then the more you can develop your pantry to make your game better, the better off you will be. So I love making and pressure canning stock. So I have a pantry that is full of pint jars of stock. I don't do quarts because it's just me. I don't use that much. And so when I braise something, I don't braise it in water. I braise it in stock. So, and then if I start cooking it with fat, I'm going to start cooking it with duck fat. So the ducks that I braised, it was duck fat in the pan and then duck legs and wings on top of it. And then some duck stock on top of that, which is just like flavor bomb. Amazing.
Yeah.
So if you just learn a few of those things, and if you take the time to make stock is mostly the last batch I did, I had on the stove for 18 hours, which makes it really good.
Wow.
But it's 18 hours of passive time. So you've got some overnight time when it's very low and it's not at a boil. It's just at a burble. It's like a little burbling stream. And it makes it delicious. And it's the way to take advantage of your animal. So don't throw your bones away. Use those bones and make stock. You will be so happy you did. And invest in a pressure canner. It's not rocket science. You have to follow the rules because, it's a pressure canner, so you don't want to turn it into a bomb by doing something stupid. Read the instructions. It's not that hard. And it's really well worth it to have that. And the duck fat, same thing. It is the best fat on earth. Duck fat is liquid at room temperature, which means it's not clogging up your arteries like some of those other fats are. So it's really actually very good for you and very flavorful. And rendering duck fat is super easy. It takes like an hour. And then it stores in the freezer forever. And it stores in the fridge forever. Like forever. Awesome. Bear fat too. Did you render your bear fat? Did you get a fatty?
Well, no, the bear was the first thing that I shot in the US when I started hunting. I was looking for
Wow,
a deer
you just started big, didn't you? Go straight for the bear.
No, exactly. It was a bit of that was an overwhelming moment.
Yeah.
Gotta say.
That's a big deal.
But it actually wasn't very fat. So here in California, it was just after berry season, so you'd think it would have more fat, but I don't think... the winters are very mild, so they don't fatten up the same way. Yeah, so it wasn't heaped with fat the way that I see in some of the videos of people who are making bear grease.
So early season?
Yeah, it was pretty early season.
So
that's right. Yeah,
I've killed one bear, and I killed her on December 12th. And she was in semi-hibernation already. They don't truly hibernate here, so they get up and walk around once in a while, and that was her downfall. And she was very, very fat. And moreover, she was very clean because in semi-hibernation they don't eat. So she had spent all fall fattening up and then not eating. So she wasn't eating anything that might cast the flavor of it.
Yes.
So she had a very nice layer of fat, which lasted for 5 years.
Wow.
My ex made bear fat cookies. They were really good.
I bet they were. Well, that's
they
amazing.
Were super good. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that bear meat that I got was really tasted amazing. I think because of all the berries that it was eating potentially, but yeah, it was incredible.
So how do you
So,
describe bear meat to people? Like what?
it's so
Because I'm
difficult.
interested. Yeah, it's really hard.
I had this exact situation not long ago and I couldn't do it. I basically said it's kind of like a very mild beef, maybe. I don't know, but it has there's a more interesting flavor and it doesn't taste like farm animal. I don't know. I don't know. How would you describe it?
I have not nailed it, but the closest I've come is it has the texture of pork. There's a very porky
Yeah,
quality to
yeah.
the density of the meat. It's very dense meat, and the flavor is not like anything you're used to, but also not in a bad way. And I always tell people if I fed it to you, you would know that you were eating something different.
Hmm.
And I really still don't know how to describe the flavor. The best I can come is the density.
Hmm.
And the weird experience I had when I got my bear was, when all the birds that I kill, they have a particular smell. Turkeys smell like turkeys,
Hmm.
and quail smell like quail, and ducks smell like ducks, and it's a very distinctive smell. And I'd never been that close to a bear before, and I was someone gave me a guided hunt that they had won at an auction, and they couldn't take it, and so I went on
Okay.
this guided hunt. It was one of the last 100 bears killed over hounds in California that before hounding was banned,
Oh, wow.
and so I
Okay.
was with this big crew of guy with hounds, and and uh and when she was down and we were sure she was dead, I went up and I'm sure these guys thought I was such a like crazy city hippie girl or something. I just went up and I buried my face in her fur because I wanted to know what she smelled like. And she smelled slightly dog-like, but
Hmm.
also very different. So just like the meat is slightly porky, but not really,
Mm.
her smell was slightly dog-like, but not really. And my car for like at least a week or two smelled like bear because I brought home the hide and not it wasn't from the meat but the hide
Yeah.
and I just clung to that as long as I could. It's like this is really special. This might never happen again, and it hasn't happened again yet.
Mm.
Um, and the whole bear experience was so special because there's so few that we get. I mean, people kill deer all the time, even in California where their deer hunting is not that great, but a
Yeah.
bear is a big deal. And when we got her, we had a ton of meat. It was like a 225-pound bear. And so we shared it with all of our friends and we put a bunch of stuff in a cooler. We just told all our friends, hey, meet us at this restaurant in Sacramento if you want a little bit of bear meat. So we sat next to the bar with a cooler full of stuff. We probably looked like almost drug dealers, like dispensing packages out of this cooler. And probably about 30 people ate from that bear. And
Amazing.
there was this incredible, like a potlatch feeling to it, where like I just fed this bear is very special, and she
Mm.
just fed all these people, and everyone who took that meat was like, I want to know what bear meat tastes like. Most of them were not hunters. They're like, I want to experience this, and then they wanted to try the fat, and they wanted to see what they could cook with it, and so like 30
Yeah.
people got to
Yeah.
partake of that bear. It was the most crazy quasi spiritual experience I've had, I think, with any game. It was like she gave of herself and then we shared that with our friends. I think
Yeah.
about it a lot and I feel like I still have a lot of chewing to do to really understand the whole experience, but it was really magical. Absolutely magical, actually. That's why I'm
Yeah.
excited. Like your first kill was a bear. Like
Yeah. It was
you
wild.
just started at the pinnacle of
Yeah. It was very strange.
stuff we hunt. Wow.
I guess I think there is something quite magical, like you're saying, about, yeah, like sharing wild game with people who haven't experienced it much or haven't had the opportunity to experience it. I feel like it's doing some good in like helping a perspective, giving some kind
Yes.
of positive connection with this is the result, this is the reality, the end goal of why people hunt. So I do
Right.
try and share as much as I can as well when I have some. Freezer's a bit
Yeah.
empty at the moment, but
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well,
You mean to hook you up with my elk hunting friends?
So, yeah, I was going to say, if they need freezer space.
All right.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's definitely a powerful thing, I think, and something I do try to do. And I really enjoy that as well. I love observing the curiosity and the surprise in people who haven't had bear before, or antelope, or any wild game. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I think unless there's something that you feel like you really wanted to talk about today, it feels like around about the time that we should start wrapping things up. But
all right.
there was something that I have on my list here. I mean,
Okay.
You've already provided a bunch of great advice and I think encouragement for anyone who's curious about starting hunting. This is definitely a testament to why you should jump in. But yeah, how can people find you, follow you? If there's resources that you think people should go to, anything like that, now's a moment to get it out there in the world.
So you can find me on Instagram. I am at Holly Go That Way, but I'm currently not doing much on social media. I'm kind of dabbling in obscurity at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Well, and sometimes you just take a break from that stuff. But I can be messaged there, and every once in a while I do check those messages. So that's how people can find me. I think if you want to learn to hunt, you have to find a community. So whatever it is you want to hunt, like for me, it was waterfowl. So I joined the California Waterfowl, and you start going to events where you can meet other people who are like-minded, and you just ask around, is there anyone who can help me? And if you keep asking around, eventually someone will get you connected with folks who can help you. Also, if you are not finding anyone yet, the state has many great resources. They have a hunter education program. They have this a whole series of videos on their website, their hunter education website, where you can watch videos about various topics to do with hunting. So they're all geared toward newbies. So you can go get a whole bunch of advice by doing that. But I would say it's so important, if possible, to find human help and not just have videos, because there's many things, as you know, that until you see it and touch it and experience it, you don't really know what it's like. An instruction manual, even a good video, does not do the same thing as actually being there and having someone explain it to you and having someone say, yes, what just happened was normal, or no, that wasn't normal. You didn't hold the gun right. It shouldn't hurt when you hold the gun that way. So, So you need to aggressively ask. And sometimes the people who come to me, I know a couple people who are hunter education instructors, and they will find a new adult hunter who's, not the non-child in the class, and they will be looking for someone to mentor them, and they will connect me with them, and I will help them with things like I'll go shooting with them, or I'll coach them on buying their first shotgun, and so on. So ask your hunter education instructor. You've got to pass hunter ed if you want to hunt. Ask them if they know of any resources, and you just have to ask aggressively. If you want it, you've really got to go out and get it, because doing it alone is super hard, and especially with some duck hunting, especially, but all hunting, the regulations are kind of complex. There's a lot of, you have to know zones and times of day and limits, and you can do this here but not there. It really helps to have someone going with you as much as possible, and find that community. Join Facebook groups. Some Facebook groups, there's always some cranky people where you go and ask advice, and they're just like, whomp, they descend on you and criticize you for being stupid and are not helpful. But typically there's some helpful people in there who will come to your defense and aid and try to give you advice. If you are hunting on public land where there is staff, if you're a duck hunter, at the refuges that the state runs, the check station staff, the hunter check station staff, they're super helpful. They want you to succeed. They really do. It makes them happy when you come out having had a good and safe day. So ask for help. You cannot be shy if you want to get this done, because you didn't get it in your childhood. You are making up for lost time if you're taking this up as an adult. So you got to just feeling. It's crazy. It kind of makes you feel like, oh my God, I missed 40 years of hunting. Yeah. Which is part of why I've gone so crazy into it. Yeah. So
you've
be aggressive
made
and
up for
assertive.
lost time.
Oh yeah. I don't do anything halfway.
No, I'm the same. You just got to jump in. If you're going to do it, jump the whole way.
Yeah.
You also sent me a great link with a bunch of useful instructional videos and all those things as well. If it's okay with you, I'll add that to the show notes. So that's a great resource. Some articles you've written, also a bunch of those videos that you talked about, giving instruction on preparing food, but also maintenance of guns and all sorts of stuff like that, right?
And there's one in there that people may not think applies to them. It's how to adjust the drop and cast on a Super Black Eagle 3, which is all kinds of shotgun knowledge that may have just gone straight over people's heads, but shotguns actually have to fit you correctly. And at the start of that video, I do my little homemade graphics explaining what drop and cast are and why you might need to adjust them. Even if you don't need to adjust them on your gun, watching that video, watching that first minute will help you understand what's going on. So that's worth watching for new shooters, even if they don't need to do that little exercise that I did in that video.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think there's something
you.
in there too about choosing a shotgun too, like personality test for what you should get.
Okay.
Also a good one.
Holly, thank you so much. That was amazing. It was great to meet you and hear your stories.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great fun. And I'm sure at some point I'd love to get together and maybe we can get under the birds sometime and get some action.
Absolutely. Yeah, some with non-mergansers.
No, I only shoot mergansers. That's my thing. That's my niche. No, I'm kidding. Right, folks, that's another episode done and dusted. Again, Holly, thank you. It was amazing meeting you and talking to you and hearing your stories. Thanks for sharing your time. That was fantastic. Everyone else, thank you for being here on the journey. I hope that by now, after my continued requests, you are following or subscribed, but if not, now is a perfect moment. Also, it would be really helpful if you can give us a 5-star review. It helps with the algorithmy things and make sure that people who enjoy the outdoors as much as myself, Holly, or you listening, they'll be able to also find this podcast in the feeds when they search for outdoorsy stuff. Everyone who's in the Northern Hemisphere, I hope you are enjoying the summer and getting fit and ready for whatever seasons are in your future. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, I guess you're coming to the end of hunting season, so I hope it's going well. Right, that's quite enough waffling from me. Thanks for listening, and until next time.
Welcome to the Wild Dispatch!